Hey Ringside crew, welcome to the internationally known Dudes at Ringside podcast. And now here's your host, Joe Panther III.
Hello there, wrestling fans. Welcome to another episode of the internationally known Dudes at Ringside podcast. I am Joe Panther III, and today I have a gentleman that was training with me. Let's give a warm Dudes at Ringside return to the Green Phantom. Welcome back, brother. Welcome back.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for being interested in me and wrestling. I appreciate that.
No problem, man. So, what have you been up to since the last time we were here in the Dudes at Ringside studios?
Bashing and smashing motherfuckers, beating, stomping down people, breaking furniture, breaking bodies all over the world. Most notably, I did a 2-week tour of Japan with Big Japan Wrestling over the winter break, and that was a lot of dreams came true. It was fantastic. Wrestling in Korakuen Hall, wrestling for huge Japanese crowds, selling merch. It was fantastic.
Awesome. So when you were on this tour of Japan, do you have any like crazy stories from the trip?
I mean, just for me, everything was kind of crazy because it was Japan, right? And it's always been a dream of mine to go there. So just coming out to an ovation when I came through the curtain, it was just, I mean, it was crazy, as in it was a highlight of my life, you know. I just to have people waiting for me, you know. I've never been to Japan, but people waiting for me to, you know, sign their shit or to buy my merch. It was really fun. Or going to a Japanese wrestling store and buying DVDs with Green Phantom on them. It was very surreal. But probably the craziest story is just how weird and wild the wrestling world is. And so a few years ago, I was on my way to Chicago to wrestle the Necro Butcher for another time, because me and him had a match. It was quite notorious. So it was going to be part two. Anyway, on the way to Chicago, the guy I was driving with crashed the car. So we never got to Chicago. I never got to have that rematch with Necro Butcher. And then a couple of years ago, I was on my way to Chicago, and I got stopped at the border. I was supposed to wrestle this guy Akira, and the next day I was supposed to wrestle this guy Satu Jin in Chicago. None of these people are from Chicago. I'm not from Chicago, but we were all supposed to wrestle there. Anyways, what do you know? I get to Japan. My first match, it's a 4-on-4 tag match, and my tag team partners are what I call the Chicago Three. Necro Butcher, Akira, Satu Jin. What a weird way the universe works. How that, like the odds of that happening is just weird stuff. It was like full circle moment. Like, yeah, I'm supposed to be here. That's just freaking weird.
Wow. That's crazy that like the wrestling, the stuff like that happens. You were supposed to be in a match with the Necro Butcher, and it ended up happening anyway. In your terms, it could have been fate. You know what I mean? Like, your turn didn't happen, but now it's gonna happen. So like, yeah, that's pretty cool that it finally happened. But you didn't face him; you were with him.
You're with him, but just have those three people that were supposed to fight in Chicago, you know, and then we end up being on the same team in Japan. It was just weird and wild and really fun too, because I mean, we were called the Baka Gaijin in Japan. That means stupid foreigner, basically. And that was our crew, and we rolled through Big Japan Wrestling very hard. It was very cool. It was a great experience, and I never got pinned in Japan, so I'm gonna probably be heading back there. Japan loved me, and I love Japan. And even though I did everything I kind of wanted to do, I still feel like I have more to offer. You know, like I got my Rivera jacket. I wrestled at Korakuen Hall, and you know, there's a bit more to do. I'm not sure what that is, but we'll see. We'll see what the future holds.
Awesome. So, Green Phantom, would you ever like move to Japan and stay there, or is it just a pipe dream just to wrestle there and that's it?
Yeah, I think it's just a wrestling thing. I mean, I lived there for 2 weeks, and it was very comfortable, and I could do that, but I have a life here in Montreal, and I wouldn't want to give that up. Not yet, anyway. We'll see what the future holds, but I don't see the time where I'd want to go. I'd like to go back to Japan, but like I said, I have a life here. I have a lot of things going on. I have a local bar here that I frequent that has my beer and my rugby team and my dog, my family. I don't think I'd want to leave.
Mm. Yeah, it's hard when you like used to being somewhere so long, and then it just you're like, okay, we're moving today. Wait, what? And like it's like your dog would be like, we're going where? I gotta be on the plane for how long? Like,
Yeah,
great.
my dog is such an anxiety case. I wouldn't want to put him through that plane ride anyway.
You have to take a boat. Just get a ferry boat and just paint it green. But like your mask, make it look like your mask, the whole ferry, like a whole boat.
That'd be awesome.
Oh God, like Batman has the bat plane and the bat boat. It'll be the Green Phantom boat. Dad, over there. Yeah. So, when you were in Japan, did you get a chance to do any like death matches when you were down there? And like, if you did, I want to hear some of the crazy stories. Like, any crazy death match stories?
I mean, my matches were rather tame in the sense that I had some barbed wire in a couple of them and some chairs, but besides that, it wasn't too crazy. That was left up to other people on the card. Even though I'm famous, especially in the States and Japan and here in Canada for death matches in Mexico, I guess. Um, I don't do them as much as people would like, I guess. Like most of I'm wrestling almost every weekend somewhere, and most of my matches are not death matches. There might be some hardcore in there. I always like to break some furniture and swing a chair, but as far as like the barbed wire bloody stuff, that's only every once in a while. It really is. So in Japan, it was pretty tame in that sense. I had great matches. Don't get me wrong. There was blood and everything in most of them. But as Big Japan is famous for strong style and death match, and I'm somewhere in between. And so I took a couple of barbed wire bumps, but for some reason the barbed wire in Japan is a lot friendlier. I don't know how to describe it. It's like smaller or something. So it was cool.
Hmm. So, did you manage to go near or be like at WrestleMania weekend? And if you did, like, did you get a
Yeah,
chance to do any matches against anybody that you haven't wrestled yet?
yeah. You're supposed to do your research there, Joe.
I do.
Yes.
I just like to ask my questions in certain ways.
Yeah, I had two matches on WrestleMania weekend. I had one on the Friday night, a real death match at ICW, and that was with Matt Tremont, who's a legend in deathmatch, one of the best death matchers ever. This guy I never met before, called Donnie Darko, from the UK,
Hmm.
and Vic Grimes, not Grimes. I forget his name. God damn, he's gonna hate me for it. Anyway, it was a guy from New Zealand. I have his T-shirt, the Deathmatch Marauder or something.
Sounds
Anyway,
familiar.
So if you check out my Instagram, Green Phantom 514. I think there's a good highlight reel of some of that match. A lot of glass, a lot of blood. I got cut, my hand got cut and stuff like that. But no, it was cool. So that was on the Friday night. Fans loved it. I actually unlike a lot of death matchers who just maybe go through pain and bash each other with shit. I like to throw in a lot of wrestling in there. So I actually do. I put the wrestling in deathmatch wrestling. So that was Friday night. I got over very well. And then on Saturday night, I wrestled at GCW, the clusterfuck,
Ooh.
with I think it was 60 other people in that match. It was wild. I had to wrestle with all the ECW guys, and it was cool. And the winner ended up being Microman, who's literally like this tall.
Oh my gosh. Did you manage to throw him through a table or throw him through anything because he's little? Did you like find a tinier table to throw him through, or did you have to throw him through the main table, the big table?
We never actually got to touch each other because by this match was about 2 hours long, and I was in for about half hour of that 2 hours, and by the time he came in, I was already gone. So we never got to actually touch. But technically, we're in the same match, so it's something.
Oh, that stinks. You never got a chance to even touch him when you were in the
Yeah,
match
we
for
do.
2 hours. Oh, I'd be
We
pissed.
do.
I'd be like,
But the Mania weekend was awesome because there's so many wrestlers and wrestling personalities there for that weekend. So I got to hang out with a bunch of my idols and friends, you know, in the wrestling business. It was a real good time. Shout out to Nick Gage and Spider Nate Webb, woo, and Sexy Eddie.
trying to do the hand thing that what's his name does. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. So like when you got a chance to hang out with all these like the ones you said, like the legendary people from Deathmatch, did you ask them for any of them for like advice on the deathmatch scene?
And not really. I mean, they're my peers, right? I mean, we talk to each other about stuff. I mean, some of them I'm older than, you know, but no, just networking and talking and just hanging out. You know, I've been doing this for 24 years, so
Oh, wow.
it's you just you kind of shoot the shit.
Wow. So when you went to Mania Weekend, did you manage to pick up any like you said before you got someone's t-shirt. Did you get anybody else's? Did you get a chance to trade t-shirts with any of the wrestlers or like stickers or anything like that?
Yeah, a bunch of stickers exchanged. The T-shirts I got, like I said, the death match. God damn it, it's gonna bother me. I gotta go look in my closet. And also ICW, they made a special green shirt for me, which is kind of nice. It was cool.
Awesome. Awesome. So have you thought of coming closer to like I think you said you've been to New York, but have you wrestled like anywhere is there anywhere else in the state of the United States that you have not put your green footprint in yet?
Yeah, sure. There's 50 states, so I've only been to maybe a dozen of them, or I've only wrestled in about a dozen of them. That is, the only ones I'd like to wrestle, like really, I guess. I don't know. Your country's pretty fucked up, man. I don't know if I want to go anywhere.
Yeah, it's a little crazy here.
I'd always like to do LA. That'd be fun, you know. I still got to wrestle in Chicago. I mean, for the amount of times I've been stopped, it's like I gotta do Chicago at least once. I'm finally. I mean, I wrestled all over Jersey and Pennsylvania and Delaware and Vermont. I think I'll be doing New York. New York City proper, Brooklyn, in July for JCW.
Oh, wow.
So that should be fun. I'll also be doing some GCW in the summer as well. And I'm supposed to do the Gathering in the summer. That's another wild story. In Japan, hanging out with Madman Pondo, his manager was Violent J. I don't know if you know who that is from the Insane Clown Posse. So we got to talking. And I told him I'd always wanted to go to a gathering and wrestle there. And he's like, cool, you got it. So he booked me to wrestle at the gathering. So that's going to be wild.
Awesome. Well, that's awesome, dude, that you've been doing so many awesome things now. So, like if my fans would like to pick up any like merch of you, like stickers or t-shirts, where can they find it?
Well, you can always DM Green Phantom. I don't use my Twitter much, but it's there. Instagram is pretty good. And I just recently got a T-shirt up on Pro Wrestling Tees by and the design's amazing. It's by this artist named Andy Belanger. He's a comic book artist. He has a bunch of titles that he's done some amazing work. So on Pro Wrestling Tees, there's a new Green Phantom shirt, action shot. It's really, really cool. But like I said, you can always just Instagram me or whatever, and I'll fire some stuff to you.
Awesome. Before we go, Phantom, if there was any fans that wanted to get into the wrestling business, Not like they could be a commentator or a manager or like ring announcer, anything like that. What kind of advice would you give them?
Love it. You got to do it because you love it. You can't do it for the money. If you love it enough, the money will come eventually, but don't make that your ultimate goal. Make the doing something you love your ultimate goal, and things will work out for you.
Awesome. Phantom, I want to thank you so much for coming on the podcast. It really means a lot to have you back on because, dude, I'm so happy for you, man. Nothing but the best of you on your wrestling career. And I hope you get to Chicago because that would hurt me if if there was a city that I've never been to that I want to go to that it keeps ducking me, things keep happening. But I send you all the good vibes. You're gonna get to Chicago by the end of the year, I swear. I'm Joe Panther the Third.
And I'm Green Phantom, your hardcore hero, baby, telling you to listen and watch Dudes at Ringside every time a podcast comes on. And of course, get with the green, baby, every day, every single way. Yeah.